Hey guys, welcome back to the TinaCMS and Tina Cloud Sprint Review. This recording, we're going to be looking at the review and retro from Sprint 97 and the forecasting for Sprint 98. Let's jump into it. Alrighty, so at a glance, our sprint goals. We completed our media management, catalog existing clients' media. Ivan, would you like to speak on this one a little bit for us?
Yeah, so during the last sprint review, we've done about 80%. As of that time, it went to 100%. Then we did another pass through and haven't identified anything bad. So that was done completely fine. We've identified some errors, but they were not major. So everything is good now. Everything is cataloged, and we can move on to the branching strategies.
Okay. Has this been deployed?
Yes, the cataloging is essentially cataloging all of our existing projects. So that has been deployed for a while, and we have cataloged all the clients, all the users, I guess.
Ivan, are you familiar with Michaela's bug?
No.
Okay. All right. Would you be able to get familiar with that bug after this so I can know if that improves her situation?
No, like I don't know what the bug is, but this is a behind the scenes thing. This is pre-work for future stuff.
This is pre-work for the branching of the media manager, I believe.
Yeah.
It should make indexing faster, yes. So that's that. But this is mostly to allow us to have branching capabilities so we can upload and delete media on a branch, so it doesn't affect the main. So this is mostly what it's for.
And I believe that's what Michaela's bug is. So
right. Okay. Just a spelling thing. I'm not 100% certain, but I'm pretty sure there's no U in catalog in. If you spell it the American way.
There we go. Alrighty, moving on to the second sprint goal, which was not complete, which was a video for social media. So we have two videos in review at the moment, and just because we've had a busy week with brainstorming prep and everything, we weren't able to, or Adam wasn't able to be available to review these videos, so we've pulled these on to the next week.
I have not even seen this or heard of it. Have I been given a link?
No. Yeah, I need to jump in there. I still need to chase you up, Adam, for that. I just, haven't prioritized it probably as much as I could have. And I didn't realize it was the sprint goal again. That kind of slipped my mind. But
okay. But we had two issues with two videos last sprint. I think you should have prioritized. And look, the way I'm going to, like, at which point did you realize that you probably need to get me to look at this?
When you looked at one of them the other day and said to come to you to double check it.
Okay, so you've had a few days.
Yeah, there's been a couple days.
Did you think about it all last night or this morning on the way to work or anything?
Yeah, this morning a little bit.
Yeah, so I think always better late than never is a good option. It's just like if you don't study for an exam the whole last week, you can still study for cram in the last 1.5 hours. At any point this morning, as soon as you thought about on the way to work, say, hey, as soon as I get to work in half an hour, I'm calling you because I need to try to get this done.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or just send me the link and I'll watch it.
All right, I'll do that now.
Okay. All right, cool.
Beautiful. Moving on. This was a 1 week and 1 day sprint. We just moved it 1 day to accommodate my schedule. We had myself, Ivan, Isaac, Matt, Jack P, Tomas, Ben N, and Kaha in the sprint review. We had 104 hours billed to Tina Cloud and 129 billed to TinaCMS. I don't know who billed 0.1 of an hour, but please stop doing that. Moving on to our sprint backlog, it looks a lot healthier than last week. However, we do have a lot of small ticket items completed, so I've pulled in a lot of post-hog items. So first, talking about there, we have a lot of post-hog stuff ready to go for TinaCMS. I believe I've got 6, potentially 7 different new events now in TinaCMS waiting to be deployed. So we'll get figures for that from next sprint on, well, from the deployment onwards, but for next sprint. I also want Ivan. Ivan, if you could speak on the spike. So this was what Adam is kind of talking about, I believe, the media management branching. You did a nice spike on that.
Okay, so in a nutshell, the problem is that currently Media Manager doesn't really work with branching properly. It technically supports it, but in practice, if you try to upload images, they go directly into the same S3 bucket as main. So you can affect production with that. If you delete an image or update an image and the caching expires, basically, we are trying to fix that. We are going to do it by introducing a staging area. So when you're on a branch, your images will go into the staging area and will be marked as deleted in the index, so we don't affect the main. And I have cut up 10-ish tickets to get all of this done. And then the process will be when you merge your PR, we will resolve the media that needs to go into the main S3 bucket, and you won't affect anything else by your work on a branch. And that work has been done. I've left some comments with the description of what needs to happen, and we can start working on that in the upcoming sprint.
And yeah, so we've pulled in one of the first item for that for the upcoming sprint. Any questions before we move on, Adam?
That's good.
Beautiful. So moving to our sprint.
So there's nothing to show.
I wouldn't say anything really to show, no. It was primarily bug fixing, small configuration things, post-hoc stuff, in the back work.
Okay, all right. Any of those items, I'm just looking at the robot emojis. Any of those that actually you didn't have to hand code that you got through with vibe coding?
Yeah, the database layer tests, I vibe coded them. Then I had to do a double take, obviously, because that's quite a lot of tests and a quite complicated code path. But the main implementation was vibe coded through.
Yeah, I get that. But often if you then have to do some of your own coding, I wouldn't call that vibe coded, like maybe vibe coded.
I didn't have to touch the code myself. I did have to do a few follow-up prompts to make sure we get the best quality possible out of those tests.
Perfect.
And so we can cull them down so we don't duplicate this stuff. But I haven't touched the code with my hands. That's all.
Okay, so if that happens, what I'm encouraging you to do is put the robot emoji next to the done, so we know how many of these we're getting through by fully vibe coding and we're happy with the code quality and stuff.
So what we've been okay, so I'm drawing the distinction here. You can assign it to a coding agent and expect it to just get it done, versus it's a human being using it as a code completion tool. So that was the latter. So we normally mark as completely vibe coded the former.
Oh,
right?
It's okay. So you want to only define it as vibe coded if it got it done without follow-up prompts.
So basically, if I can assign an agent and tell it, hey, get this done, and then just approve the PR, that's vibe coded. If I have to do it myself, then this is just me being more efficient with the tools. It's not really saving that much time. That's all.
Well, look, I will tell you that I'm not sure I agree with that, because
I don't.
You can get you can get Levi or non-coders or designers to be able to get it done. If you have to jump in and start changing some of the code around, I would say that's definitely not vibe coded. But by saying, hey, if the issue that's raised is I want a red button here, and then you make an adjustment that says, can you move it higher so it's above the text? I still call that vibe coded.
Okay, sure. If by that definition we can mark it as
process feedback instead of code feedback.
Yeah. Now, of course, doing that so many times and you think, wow, I could have done that myself in code quicker. It's annoying. But if you did any of those, can we put robot emojis next to any of the ones that you got done that way?
Yeah. Ben, I see you want a robot emoji on this PBI. Did you use AI for this?
I was there before I pick it up, and there's no need to use an AI for this. Just use AI to clarify things, but it's just 2 line of config basically.
Okay.
So more of the task is to test and verify if any performance improvement after adding those tags.
Okay, so Ben, the reason those emojis were put there is because the team thought, oh, you can probably vibe code this one. So we would want you to throw it in to assign it to Copilot, see what it did. And if it produced junk, then say, well, failed.
I did use AI for this one up here, which has the robot emoji. It was a bug, except it was quite painful to test because it's hard to test the auth flow in the TinaCloud auth flow locally. So I actually use AI primarily to mock the auth flow, which was nice. The actual bug itself wasn't that complex. Any more questions, Adam, before we move on?
So are there any robots? How many robots in the done column?
We don't have any in the last time we were told to put them in the PBI name, not the done column, because that is auto generated from GitHub.
Okay, all right. Okay, all right. So basically, you can say that one there.
Yes. It seems like we've got two, so mine and Ivan's.
Okay, so you and Ivan had success, nobody else did. Okay, got it. Okay.
Moving on to the sprint burn up, it looks a lot healthier than last week, although still not perfect. So we had 32 items complete and 32 work story points complete and 32 story points remaining. However, I do want to note that we only committed to 32 in the original sprint forecasting last week. We ended up bringing in a lot of items. For example, I didn't have anything allocated for the sprint. Our code coverage not yet logged. I believe we will have this for the next sprint though.
Yes, we have started logging some of the stuff. We just need to formalize it and display it properly.
Production deployments, we had 2 deployments for TinaCloud and 1 new release for TinaCMS. Moving on to the application health overview timeline for the sprint, identity API HTTPs increased from 51 to 221, and content API HTTP 500s increased from 3,000 to 23,500 roughly. You can see here in this bottom middle graph, we had quite a large spike in one day. Although Eli's not here to kind of analyze this and speak to it.
From a little spot check that I did, we had a few contentious deployments on the rules project.
When you look at that graph, Matt, which widget do you care about the most?
The Dynamo throttles are the things that we've been looking at the most, because we did have a lot of throttling in Dynamo for a while until we split up into multiple databases. The next thing is...
Sorry, where's Dynamo?
Top middle.
Where my cursor is, if you can see
that.
How
many throttles are we getting?
Oh, sorry, I'm looking at the graphs. Sorry.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. If like the content, it's hard to ignore the big red spikes in the identity and the content graphs. Mm-hmm. That being said, the content stuff is partially out of our control, and partially I'm going to be reinvestigating whether or not builds need to fully involve TinaCloud for every single page, given that the content is in the repo next to it. If we're able to decouple that for builds, it will speed up builds for everyone.
Right. Okay.
But I think that requires some investigation before pulling that in as an actual thing.
Okay.
So I'll task an agent with that soon.
Good.
Moving on, issues opened and closed for TinaCMS. So we had 2 new open issues for March so far, given we only are 11 days into the month. However, we've got 39 new issues closed. So that's good to see. We're kind of culling through the backlog a bit.
That doesn't seem right. I have personally opened about 20 in TinaCloud and TinaCMS. So that looks a bit odd.
This is only tracking TinaCMS.
Okay.
But it's an external tool, and that's what it's giving us. Potentially, we can investigate after the call. Beautiful. Isaac, Do you want to run us through some of our post hoc stats?
Yeah, so we've still had a fair few commits coming through Tina Cloud, but it's dropped down from 7,700 to 6,800, thereabouts. Our user onboarding flow has decreased slightly from about 13% conversion to 9%, and the collaborator invite flow has remained pretty stable at about 20%. So organizations and projects created. We've had a few more organizations created this week compared to last week, 126 instead of 101, and the trend line is pretty stable there throughout the week. And there's a bit of a downward trend of projects and organizations created over the last 30 days. So you can see that graph for a longer time period there.
And obviously you can see here we've got a to-do, TinaCMS add postdog. We will have this hopefully for next sprint if we get a deployment out today or tomorrow.
Right.
Moving on to the unique cloners. So for all of our popular starter templates, we had increase in unique cloners, which was nice. We are up 8 on the Tina Barebone starter, up 19 on the next.js starter, and up 2 on the self-hosted demo. So that's good to see people interacting with those. Looking at our TinaCMS package downloads by week, it has decreased slightly from 51,000 to 43,000. Onto our epics. What did we work on? So we have 3 epics in progress at the moment. So we were up 2% on our improved database performance, up 10% on our implement catalog layer, and up 20% on the expand task coverage for stable core. Any questions on that, Adam?
No, that's good.
And on the horizon, so multi-repo support, we have 12 PBIs to do, and we will be starting this next sprint. Moving on to R&D, Eli and Ivan. So they did some research into the branching strategy from the media manager. Ivan, I know you already spoke on this. Do you want to add anything more?
Not really, no. This is new functionality, so that is well and truly an R&D activity.
Yeah, beautiful. And Ben N, investigating plate upgrade. Do you have anything to touch for that, Ben?
We do find something interesting that we could potentially get from the latest version. We have all the Spike PBI created for that, but the summary of that is we still recommend doing this after the V4.
Nice. Moving on to our AI tools, in summary, we're all using a lot of AI. A lot of people are paying for it, so that's one thing to note, but everyone is well and truly utilizing AI. Pretty much everyone is using Opus 4.6, except for Kaha, it seems.
Oh, I am. I'm just
Oh,
using
you
it
are?
through GitHub Copilot.
Beautiful. Sorry, everyone is using Opus 4.6 now.
Kaha, have you tried Claude Code?
Not yet, but I am looking towards using it actually.
Okay. Can we put bold on the thing that they're using the most? Like, Josh, can you just bold the one that you use the most? I assume it's Claude Code, right?
Yes, definitely.
And Isaac, what's yours?
Same.
Okay. Wixie, what's yours?
Yeah.
I would. Mine bolding
Where
is
is-
not working for some reason.
Where is Wixie?
Okay.
I can't bold them right now. I'll fix that after this. My computer's not responding to bolding them. Anything else, Adam?
No.
I'll bold them after this. My computer's just not responding to me bolding things.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Max. Join the PC, baby.
No, I just need to get a new Mac. Lucky the
New
M5
Mac, yeah.
Pros, the
You need
M5
the
Pros
M5
released this
Pros to
week.
bold.
That's the correct thinking.
Yeah.
That's right.
I think the issue is I've still got a 14-inch one. I need a 16-inch now.
Yeah, you do. Bigger screen real estate. Can I ask, in general, when you guys are working, would you agree your flow, maybe give me a thumbs up, if your flow is that on the left, you've got basically you're doing your prompting, and on your right, you're looking at like Git Kraken or like your flow is left to right? Is that who? Can you give me a thumbs up if that's your flow? No. Oh. Okay.
Oh, you got
So
Matt. Matt thumbs up.
what's yours, Josh?
My code usually sits on my left, and my whatever I'm using, either whether it's the cursor terminal or my actual terminal to use Claude Code, is always on the right, or generally on the right.
And why don't you go from left to right? Because you read from left to right.
I'm still reading left, still reading from left to right. It's just the way I usually set my screens up.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyone else got anything? No.
Yeah, recently I've been having my Claude Code or whatever on an iPad as a separate small screen because I don't really need to read it that much. I can move it around. Then the code normally sits on the left, and then the Git Kraken also sits on the left, so I can swap between the tabs depending
Right.
on what I do on that monitor.
And
Then,
your prompts are entered into your iPad.
well, I just use an iPad as a screen because it's just more convenient to read it there because the width is a bit more reader friendly as
But
opposed
where
to
do
a
you
screen
type your prompts?
with my keyboard on my iPad.
Oh, so okay. So you enter your prompts into your iPad. Right. Okay.
It's just an extended screen. Like I don't use it as a device. It's just a
Right.
mirroring thing on Mac.
So where are you entering the prompts?
Into the
I
Claude
think
Code or Open Code or
I
whatever.
think
the
I think
iPad
you're
is being used as a
conflating.
monitor.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
Apple
I'm just
Sidecar.
using it as a monitor. Yeah.
Okay, I never understood. But Thomas, where are you entering your prompts?
I enter my prompts in Cloud Code or whatever. If I'm using an IDE, I use an extension, so an anti-gravity. Yeah.
I'm trying to work out whether you are entering your prompts on the left and reading, say, Git Kraken on the right.
So I normally just full screen whatever application I have and my
Okay.
terminal, and then I alt tab in between them. So whenever I need to prompt, I alt tab and then I switch to the terminal, read what it does there, and then switch back to the IDE.
Okay, so you're switching all the time. Okay, how do you
Yeah.
work, Jack?
I normally just have one screen and I just switch between all my screens. I've
Right.
just got keyboard shortcuts to go everywhere.
Right. Okay. All right. Interesting. All righty. Cool. Let's
Beautiful.
keep going.
Moving on to our Copilot stats. So looking at our speaker summary, I was running the meeting, but Matt and Ivan were helping in where they needed. A little bit of talk from Isaac, Kaha, and then little spurs from the rest. When asking what our main item completed, it was the spike, so we got it correct. The main item was cataloging work, which was completed successfully. We actually do now have our AI Claude stat, so I'm just going to pull it over and we'll go through this off the rip. I don't think this one was too useful, if I'm being honest. So as some of our high action items, so deploy TinaCMS for post-hog features, get video reviewed by Adam. For Ivan, it's help Josh with catalogs and then move on to branching on his own. And it did mention that we have an unassigned investigate download decline, but I don't think that's really necessary.
Yeah, we've
That's
never
not relevant, no.
been acting on those
Hard
stats.
truths for leadership. Video production has been a sprint goal for 3+ sprints without delivery. So as we mentioned, that's definitely one that Isaac and Tomas are probably going to chase up this sprint. And then I'm not sure where I got this one from because I don't know where. I just don't know. Ivan did 76% of work last sprint and is still primary driver, but it says something like it's. If I move on to one of the next sections, I'll go to it next. But looking at people and roles, so MVPs, second week in a row, I think Ivan, and then Wixie at 9 out of 10. Anything to note there, Adam?
Well, not really. Thinks you're the Scrum Master. That's good. Thinks Ivan's senior software developer. That's good. That was funny. I was in a sprint review with Gert, and it didn't say he was the product owner. Like, see how it says Matt's the product owner? And he said, let's send it the roles from CRM. And I thought, no, this is the whole idea of AI. It picks up how you speak, what you're doing, and it will guess who's doing what role.
Yeah.
Anyway, if you guys have any suggestions for Tiger, just go to the very bottom of this. There's a link to the GitHub repo, and you can yak shave an issue in there.
And so on the risk radar, it's picked up that that Ivan is the technical lead on multiple epics. If Ivan leaves, velocity collapses. So don't leave, Ivan.
I don't think that's entirely true, but
No, I just think you're involved in numerous epics, though.
yes, I am.
Yeah. I wonder what language it picks up for it to make that evaluation.
Anything else you guys want to look at in the Claude stats before I move on?
No, all good.
Beautiful. So I'll put that in the email, sorry. Sprint retrospective. So what went well? Ivan called out that collaboration went really well this sprint. And myself, Carhart, and Matt Wicks called out that the burn down looks a lot healthier than last sprint. So we're slowly getting there, but each getting better week on week. And then Ben N also pointed out that we've started on our unit testing epic, which is great to hear. What didn't go so well, as we've mentioned a few times, the videos are still not completed. And also Isaac called out the npm downloads graph process is not fun. It's 15 minutes when we should look at vibing something up. So we've added that as a potential improvement, which Isaac and myself will look into.
Josh, I know the videos were not completed, but what do you think contributed to that?
Personally, I think just people need to be
Isaac and understand.
People just need to be chasing up things a lot quicker. Like just be hounding. It can be annoying to hound. But
do you think that's it, or was there more? Because in this case, I don't think Isaac asked me at all.
Well, that's what I'm saying in terms of hounding. Like when I need something approved by you or a pull request that someone else needs to look at, I will often text them numerous times over the span of a day, potentially, if I need to get it done, especially if it's a sprint goal.
Okay. All right, man. So Isaac, maybe just go and have a look at messages that Josh has sent and just get a vibe to see if you don't have to copy Josh, but you could have a look to see what he does differently.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Part of it's probably that I haven't done that many like public facing videos on my own, and I'm probably a bit nervous about pushing it too much.
I think that also you have done a version. My impression is that you haven't shown version 1 yet, but I know you have, and you've shown some other people, and then you go and record it, a new version without, I haven't even seen it. Now, there's plenty of people that have done that in the past, and they go, oh yeah, I don't need you to see it yet because
I'm still fixing stuff up.
Yes. And then when I watch it and I tell them other things, I say, now, would have you preferred to get it now or after you've done the V2? And they always say, oh yeah, much better now.
That's probably a good point. Yeah.
All right. All cool.
Beautiful. And so some other points for improvements. Ivan, and Isaac have mentioned reducing sprint capacity for next sprint, which we'll touch on when I go to sprint forecasting. And Jack P mentioned we should go through all the PRs in TinaCMS and TinaCloud and clean them up. So I think I'll be helping Jack with that a bit for the next sprint. Any questions?
Also, yeah, I do want Jack and Ben to help Chloe on a couple of things on the rules backlog as well.
It's interesting though. I've gone through all of those with Chloe, and all the ones she's told me to bring up with the team I have, and now there are new ones coming out of thin air, it seems.
Right. Okay. I thought your one to do with the yellow highlighting in Markdown was phenomenal. I did think it was weird that you didn't send a YouTube URL, but
it was I sent a 3-second screen record, just demoing what I actually meant by highlighting.
Right. Okay, but it had no audio in it, and it was 15 meg. Yeah.
It wasn't supposed to be.
Okay. All right.
Alrighty. Moving on to the sprint forecasting. So for sprint 98, our sprint goals, we want one video on social media, whether that's Tomas's, Isaac's, or someone else's. That's our sprint goal. And our second sprint goal, it is a bit of a boring one, but it is 100% completion on PPIs. So we've reduced our sprint capacity majorly this week. I believe we are on 27 points committed. This is taking into account a lot of us have 1 day off for the brainstorming, and we might most likely, because it's a weekend long event, might be fatigued on Monday a little bit. So we are prioritizing getting through all of these items as our sprint goal, so we can have a nice little backlog reset. This also includes getting a bunch of the PRs that are still outstanding through.
Right. I'm going to say the same thing. Can you put robot emojis next to any of these ones here and on the backlog? So the ones you know you're going to try to get in, because we definitely want to have a couple of just simple ones that we can keep seeing where AI is up to on this Tina code base. Because I can tell you that the Tina team has had less success with AI than all the other teams. And I think it's because that the Tina code base is a lot messier than, say, the Yakshaver code base or the Eagle Eye, or Time Pro. Maybe.
It's about 5 to 10 times bigger than both of those code bases as
Yeah,
well.
that's right. Yeah.
So there's a lot more complexity, which I think is why
Yeah.
there's definitely been less. But looking at the sprint backlog now, is there anyone here that has an item they want me to throw a robot emoji next to?
No, we can do that offline.
Okay, beautiful.
Right.
But the other difference that I'd want to point out is that Tina's brownfields, whereas the others have been greenfields.
Yes, I do know. I understand the code base is very different, and we inherited a whole chunk of it. But I just want to know, I just want a simple one before you send this email, Josh, that you'll give it a go to throw it at AI and see if it like a small one.
Okay.
That should be able to do. Yeah. Okay.
Awesome.
All right.
Looking at our AI stats, so it said the main item to do next was to implement the media branching strategy. And I would say this actually, sorry, it does say incorrect here. It is correct. So we've pulled that one in for Ivan to start working on. Awesome. So that brings us to the end of our forecast. Any questions?
No, I think the main goal is there's going to be some social media love.
There definitely will be some as well.
Okay, good work.
Awesome. Thanks for joining me, guys. You can watch all of our sprint review retros and forecasting on our TinaCMS YouTube channel. See you guys next week.
See ya. Bye.
Thanks, Josh.